My name is Danielle Cassiano. I'm currently living in the Toledo area, and I first discovered this whole organization through using First Look. I was in the process of changing my insurance at work, actually, because my husband and I had just gotten married, and I was updating it, and then I had a positive pregnancy test, and I wanted to go, I didn't want to go to the doctor in the middle of the change because I wasn't quite sure how that worked, and some friends had recommended First Look because they said that you can get like a free, like they do a pregnancy test and ultrasound just to like confirm your pregnancy. So that's how I came about knowing it. So I did it. I did in COVID, so it was still kind of weird at that time, just me that could go back there and all, but it was awesome. I got my first ultrasound, confirmed my pregnancy, and then while I was there, they had like a little meeting with me and told me about all these other services they offer. One of them being the classes you can take that follow your pregnancy, and you get points for each class, and then you get to use those points in a boutique to purchase items. So that was super helpful because this is my first child, first pregnancy, so the classes actually would tell you what to expect in that trimester, and it was just a lot of information that was really useful for someone who'd never been pregnant before at all. And then they followed me all the way throughout having my child and his age, and it was like a tiny bit ahead of where I was so that I knew what to expect, and that was extremely helpful. I feel like it was kind of unique because I'm an older mother, and maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of had the assumption that these services were kind of for like younger moms who kind of, were in a tough situation and just needed the help. And I'm an older mom, first time older mom at that. I had my first child a little bit older than average, and it was a little bit odd for me to use it. It was a little bit uncomfortable at first because I kind of felt like maybe it wasn't for me. I was immediately met with like kindness, and nobody ever like questioned anything, or I don't know, I was made to feel very comfortable. So although it was like kind of awkward getting into it and using the programs, I never felt like I was being judged for it or anything like that. So it was fine. Like I was really comfortable. And had I come and used the services and felt a little uncomfortable, I probably wouldn't have continued them. So that's the reason why I used them as long as I did too, because the staff was super friendly. And another unique part of my situation is I had actually been living abroad for most of basically since I graduated college, like in my early 20s, and I just came back to the USA in 2019. So I was still trying to figure those out, and as I was, all of my family and friends were basically like, oh, I had a full-time job, my husband has a full-time job, so we're not under the poverty line. So basically everybody let me know, like, don't bother because you're not going to qualify. Anyone I knew that had already done all of those. So they kind of saved me the headache of having to go through that just to find out I didn't qualify. So that was the difference with this. I kind of like went into it, and I had to state our income, so it was never any secret. And I was kind of almost like waiting to be like, oh, are they not gonna be able to help me because we're not below poverty? And that never happened. So it was great because even though you're not below poverty, like, doesn't mean you don't need help, especially like in our situation. Like, because I came back and started kind of settling down and having children at a later age in life, all of my siblings and family, their kids are all grown. I'm not getting any like hand-me-downs or anything like that at this point. And like we don't have any family in Toledo at all. And my husband had just started like a new career where he kind of started at the bottom of the totem pole again. And so all of those factors were playing in, yet on paper, we weren't below poverty, so we couldn't really get any of the things that people can when you're below the poverty line in Ohio. I think the first time I actually completed a class, I was really surprised at just, how much information the class gave me. By the end of that, I'd take notes as I would watch these classes on my phone. And I was just pleasantly surprised at all the information I got from the class. And then the first time using the boutique, I was actually really surprised to find that a lot of the stuff I got was in packages and new. I kind of just thought it would all be like gently used, which that was fine too, but it was kind of like, ooh, look, I got some new things too. I feel like I'm really grateful that I stumbled across the heart-to-heart services. I look back and think of all that I didn't have to worry about getting during the whole process, and I'm extremely thankful for that too. Yeah, I just feel super fortunate to have come across this, because it wasn't really anything I was seeking out at the time. I hadn't gotten to that point. I found it as soon as I found out I was pregnant, so I just feel really fortunate to have stumbled across it, been able to use all of the services. I just like the donors to know that they aren't just giving items to parents, they're helping take away that burden so that we can enjoy the excitement of childhood and not have to worry about some of the essential things so much. So we can spend more time actually interacting with the children, and that the classes themselves help us be better parents, and better parents means children who are being raised better and becoming better individuals and adults and parents themselves. So essentially, I feel like it does affect the youth. The youth are our future, so they're having a much bigger effect than maybe they know.